Hello, Internet! It is I, your companion in this trying time, Sneaky Devil. This is Fanfiction Theater 9002. Now, Atin said he was going to be joining us, but for all we know, he's been waylaid by ninja assassins. So we don't know how long he's going to be taking, but Max Force is in fact here, so you can rest your worries about him.
You sent them after him again, huh?
No comment. Boom! Boom! Alright, so let us just kick right off into it today with, let's see, this one's pretty cringy, so let's do this one. Alright, and transition scene. And as always, the links to the fics we cover are in the Discord, but, you know, don't harass the author because that's harassment and that's against Twitch guidelines. But this is a multi-crossover worm crossover
no.
Called My Life as a Gotcha Gamer on Earth Bat. Stop. Cease. No, there ain't no cease in here. Full steam ahead. Ever wake up in a place without pants? No, this is not a smut fic nor a lemon, so get your head out of the gutter. Now I am in a world not my own, and soon learned it was overrun by capes, super beings able to do amazing and horrific things. The only power I have is a gotcha-based gamer with the ability to summon Servant. Not Fate, but OC Servants with various media.
That explains why it's in the multi-cross. Can I... Quick applause to this author.
He actually put it in the right
that
section.
Big of a dumbass.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was in the restroom. What did I miss?
We're doing a self-insert original character worm story in which his superpower is to summon other characters from anime as servants.
Doesn't even appear to be
so
anime.
what, he can just summon random people as servants?
It seems to just be like fictional characters in general.
On a totally random wheel spin.
Oh,
totally
fuck off,
random.
Just fuck off.
Absolutely random. And totally not whatever I want the character to get.
Sneaky.
Now see, his thing, right? If they were sitting around with like a D100 in a chart, I would like this concept way more.
Sneaky,
Yes.
Do you want to sit down, write out a chart, and just see what we get? Go back to the days of the old Naruto crack fix we used to do, playing Full Burst. But we'll just make a chart of fictional characters from games and anime. We'll just roll it and see what happens.
I still love that our first randomly generated match with the randomly generated heroes on each side was Orochimaru versus Sarutobi, and the third one in the arena. And it's just like, are you kidding me, game?
Oh yeah, that was. I think I had to play Orochimaru, and I didn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, you had no idea what you were doing, and I just spammed his ultimate ceiling move, and that's how I won.
Good job.
I mean, it worked. So.
Anyway, so I have gotten back into fanfic while I am working on various rewrites of one-shot form old series. I wanted to give this a shot. I plan to post and update these stories monthly. Not planning on rewriting all of the stories, but on the last Sunday, possibly Monday of new month. Updates will be posted. Chapter 1,
No.
Starting Point. Oh my god. You know that feeling that something is just not right. Like this story. Like something bad has happened and you feel a chill down your spine, like someone walked over your grave.
I've never
Now,
understood that. What in God's name does that expression mean? Because no person alive has ever, by definition, had someone walk over their grave. Except if you possibly count Jesus, who did exist, but whether or not he came back to life is in historical contention.
Okay,
Hi,
well,
Calvin.
I don't know how true this is,
okay.
but according to a UK site that looks at phrases.org, you guys might be familiar with it. It's believed to be derived from an old folk legend where a cold sensation is caused by someone walking over where your grave is eventually going to be.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
If that's true, that kind of actually makes sense for Europe in the 18th century.
Europe
Yeah.
does that.
Okay. But even still, just be like, hey, you feel a chill down your spine, like when someone's creeping on you. Because
Oh,
we've all had that.
it's... Huh. It also cites two places it's recorded in literature of some sort. One thing from 1738 and another from 1868.
Okay, you know what?
Alright.
Cited sources. I approve.
Okay, anyway, let's keep
I don't know
going.
what the fuck it is.
Thank you,
Calvin,
Max.
this story is a worm story that's a self-insert original character that totally guaranteed, absolutely, I swear, believe me, summons completely random characters from anime and manga and movies and games.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, see,
servants.
and that's the other thing. When we do our improved version of this, we'll write the chart out and we'll publish the chart.
I mean, that's basically what I'm doing with the worm story that I'm still trying to get around to writing.
Yeah.
Is that I include all the roles.
I would say, Max, we should do that for the combat. We should literally go. We should find the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic text font and we should publish the combat log. Just Max rolled a 1 on the dodge. Max gets stabbed in the arm.
Anyway, now multiply that feeling by 10, and the feeling of frostbite instead. Alright, hey guys, think of this example, alright? I'm thinking of this example. Now ignore that example, think of a different example and multiply that by 10. Why do you do this?
Oh, look at me. I'm being clever. No, you're not. Not remotely, author.
Yes, I died. Get over it.
Is he telling us to get over it?
I think
or...
I think the
I'm
narrator.
sorry. Is the narrator trying to be tsundere and failing?
Yes. At least I died the way I wanted to, in the arms of people I love, from old age drifting into the next life.
Boy, that's awfully specific.
Wish fulfillment! At least that is what I want to say, and that is how this story is going down in my book.
Sorry, I'm just not in the mood for someone trying to be clever.
No.
I'm really not.
There'll be no mention how I really died, and anyone who insists it was painful, lonely, and scary, and that I was crying like a bitch on their feet of snow, is a dirty liar. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Don't like it? Write your own origin.
I will! This story never existed. I have immediately improved it.
You know what? I'm not even going to ask you if guys want vetoes. I'm just moving on.
Ah, hell yeah!
I'm just moving on. Fuck this fic. Fuck this author and fuck this fic. Instead, you guys get this story. A Sekirei worm cross. Yes, that does perfectly describe my situation of life. Do work, go to gym. Maybe I'll consider your proposals over the next 8 hours.
Yeah, Sneaky, I see that meme, and I will raise you a Beat Saber. That game is such a fucking cardio workout.
Oh, you have VR?
I do. I occasionally play it at the workouts and play while they go and actually do the muscle training. I just stick to cardio and sometimes play on Beat Saber.
Eh.
Boy, if you ever want to work out for your thighs and heart at the same time, that's your game.
Well, I was gonna say, if you want to get really complex, you should get a Oh no. Nope. Lost my train of thought completely. Treadmill. That's it. I could not, for the love of God, think of the word treadmill.
Alright, let's keep moving.
Nice.
Little birds of Brockton Bay. I don't drink, so when I woke up in an alleyway with a pounding head and no idea where I was understandably very confused. Then a teenage superhero landed on my head while trying to escape an oversized rage dragon, and I figured out I'd been randomly omnipotent beinged. I wasn't expecting to start a flock
Can
of
I
birds,
just
though.
say every time an author uses that, I hate it more.
Cool.
Oh, random omnipotent beings. Fuck off. Get at least a little more creative.
I'm
hacks.
bored, and I felt like doing a Sekirei story. There is really no other reason I'm doing this, as it's technically not a full crossover. Since I'll be replacing some Sekirei with OCs, make them based in the US, and the Sekirei plan isn't a thing, and Minaka got squashed by a Leviathan. Okay, well, it is a full Sekirei crossover, it's just
So I
being
took all of the
adjusted.
Sekirei out of Sekirei and then still called it Sekirei.
Well, no, because the thing is that you can still do a fusion fic between Worm and Sekirei, because Japan got deleted, so you can straight up just be like, oh yeah, only like 60 of the 108 made it out, and the refugees now in Brockton Bay. Because
Yeah,
that's
I
a
would just say, I
thing.
mean, that is one of the only redeeming things about Sekirei, because it's set in the quote-unquote normal modern world. You can actually fold it into a bunch of stories.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to see Batman in the Sekirei program.
No,
Isley, does that exist yet?
probably does. Probably crap.
And is it any good?
Probably garbage.
Probably.
Chapter
There's one.
1.
Now here's the question: how would Captain America do in that war?
Oh.
Meh.
Oh no.
Not really good.
Hey, Atin, have you ever wondered what would happen if the Joker met Karasuba? Apparently
That would be amazing. Horrible for mankind, but amazing.
It is titled The Harlequin of Discipline. Oh god, this fic is dead.
How dead?
January of 2013 dead.
Oh.
Give it to me anyway. I kind of want to see if it's any good.
There's something wrong with this picture, I thought, as I stared up at the starry sky above me. I was still half asleep, so it took me a moment to register just what was off. Wait, what happened to my ceiling? I muttered. Then, I sat bolt upright, looking around wildly, as what I just said sank in. I wasn't in my bedroom. Instead, I was in a rather grimy alleyway, sitting on a pile of stinking bin bags. What's a bin bag? You mean garbage bag?
Okay. He's
Fucking
maybe
Brit.
from the UK?
He's from the fucking British Isles.
Like, shit. Yeah, he is. He's from the UK.
I'm gonna write an American-based story, but not even knowing words to use in America.
You okay there, Sneaky? You went full Alabama there.
Sorry, I was trying for retarded British.
Well, you went more deep
I'm not
south
sure why. I
than over
mean,
the pond,
I
mate.
guess technically Alabamians.
Albania.
Alabama Lachia.
Nailed it.
Sneaky, put the
Yes.
drink down.
No. You can't make...
I heard the cork. Put it away.
We all heard the cork. The entire stream heard the cork, man. Sneaky, I like how just a few, maybe an hour ago at this point, we were having a conversation about how you were depressed and not drinking.
I am drinking now.
Ugh. This is someone's fault, and I don't know whose.
Just leave a review. Leave a review on the story. You caused our friend's alcoholism to get worse.
Where am I and how the fuck did I get here? I lifted my hand to scratch my bard, only to find my fingers touching bare skin. I blinked and quickly rubbed my cheeks, only to find a small amount of patchy fuzz. What the hell, I muttered, more than a little put out I no longer had my neckbeard. I liked my beard, damn it. I looked down and my frown deepened as I realized I had seemed to be a little smaller than I remembered. I was never a big guy, but now that I looked even thinner and smaller than I had been the day before. What's more is my clothes, thankfully, I had on my normal clothes instead of my undies, were a simple pair of jeans and t-shirt that I recognized as being from my wardrobe from 7 years ago. Even if I hadn't grown that much, it should still have been a little tight. What the actual fuck's going on around here? I muttered as I scrambled out of the pile of rubbish and made my way to the edge of the alley. Okay. Author, what the fuck is your opinion of American cities? Do you really think we just have open bags of trash sitting in some dimmy back alleyway?
Okay, look, if they've ever looked at like the really bad areas of Chicago or the really bad areas of like Detroit, they would not be incorrect.
Look, if he's in Brockton Bay, I could see that, depending on what part he's in. Let's be honest. If he's in, like, gang territory...
I don't know, man. I've been through New York, Boston, Baltimore. You know, I've been up and down the East Coast cities, and I have never... I've seen closed trash bags, you know, sitting in a trash bin or a trash dumpster. But not just sitting out in the open, because they typically fine you for that. Yeah, Washington, D.C. Yeah. So I guess the Midwest is just complete slobs. Okay.
Well,
I mean, I'm not...
I wasn't aware that you were taking extensive tours of back alleys. That's it. That's dedication on your part.
Things happen. You go places. You think it's a shortcut. It's not a shortcut.
Well, I mean, depending on who you meet, it can turn into a shortcut.
A shortcut to a better place.
As I did, I walked past a patch of graffiti. Now, that normally wouldn't be enough to make me stop, but for some reason the defacement made me pause and take a second look. It was green and red Chinese-style dragon coiled up and spitting fireballs that formed the letters ABB. I stared at it for a moment, trying to figure out why this was so important. I am staring at this story trying to figure out what the fuck you're even doing here. I mean, I will give the author kudos on this part that the, it is in fact, legible.
And so far there haven't been any horrendous grammar mistakes. No more than what we would usually tolerate.
Then it clicked and I went white. Oh, fuck. I ran for the entrance of the alley and looked out. Across the street from me, the warehouse had been stood there. Warehouse that had been stood there. You know, author, I just said how, passing your grammar was, and then you go and do that. Had collapsed, giving me an excellent view of the city across them. What is this, fucking Detroit? Excellent view of the city across the massive bay. The large tanker sunk in the entrance, and the floating, glowing rig in the middle of the water. Oil rigs don't float, my dude.
What doesn't float?
Have supports. Oil rigs?
Oh. No, they magically float, Sneaky. They're magic.
Oh, yes, of course. I forgot about the eldritch technology that America unlocked back in the 1920s. Shit! That's not good.
Huh.
So, to take stock, I am apparently in Worm. I may have been de-aged and am likely in the most dangerous part of the city at this night. Well, this won't end well. Fucking Rob.
See, I think it'd be hilarious. It's like, you know what? I'm Asian. Wait a minute, I'm Asian. Everything is fine.
Everything is fine. No, but he's British, so he's
I
not
know.
Asian.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why. I'm feeling super wide after today's workday, and I have no fucking clue why.
Well,
considering
don't
I'm
worry, Max.
sick.
I'll dampen those spirits.
Well, see, so far I've gotten to, prove you wrong on a couple things. I think I'm getting adrenaline rushes from that. Would you like to learn about floating production oil rigs?
Really, those are things.
Only deep sea, though. Since this is an
Yeah.
offshore line, this is very likely a fixed platform.
Yeah, I figured
Not
as
even
much.
floating production. So, I don't know why you would need a floating production in a bay.
I mean,
But,
also the fact that is that a new technology, or is how recent is that?
Let me do some fact checking.
Because as far as I'm aware,
By the way, I want to point out, this is the most research Max has done in months.
Oh, I know. I'm encouraging him.
There we go. Floating production systems.
Yes, I do love. Would it not be more proper to yell shite? Why the fuck would you yell shite in America? Fucking Brit.
Because this individual's British.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just retarded.
Well, the problem is they don't understand America, and they're not using correct Britishisms for the British character in America.
Yes.
Oh wow. The
What?
first floating production system was built in 1977.
That's impressive.
What the fuck did they float it on in 1977? All the bodies from the Chicago River?
Yes. Actually.
At night, I just feel I should remind you we've had submarines for a lot longer than that.
Anyway, yeah, no.
Okay, but a submarine is
And
not a
we've had
floating
boats.
oil production facility, Max.
We have
There's a
had
big
boats
difference.
for far longer. We have had the science of buoyancy for quite some time.
I'm aware of what the science of buoyancy is, Max. But
Are
again,
you
Yes,
sure?
no, okay, I have
Because
to
you're
break
gonna-
up an argument in the chat as well right now. Okay, so how
Oh,
America
boy.
works is we just want
who
your
is
money.
this?
Calvin and
Mhm.
Isley. Oh, is that Kilm?
Hello there.
Oh my god, it is.
Oh! Are Indians back?
I wasn't aware he was still alive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he sometimes
well.
is. So what's going on here is that in America, we just want your money. If you get that money by selling drugs, as long as you tell us that you're getting your money illegally, we don't care, according to the IRS.
Yeah, no, that is actually true. The IRS is more concerned with getting your money than with catching you. That
And
literally, that is how
legally-
they caught Al Capone.
They
caught Al
legally
Capone
cannot.
for income tax evasion
They,
because you are actually supposed to declare criminal gains because they're still gains. And the IRS actively says if you
report-
list that you have criminal gains, that cannot be used in prosecution against you.
yeah.
What do you mean you're a criminal? You can't be a criminal.
Look, we just want your money, no matter how you're getting it.
Listen, we don't care who you shot for it. We just want it.
Ah, yes, but Calvin, you
Yeah,
are forgetting
essentially.
capitalism.
So they're like, you made $250 million selling cocaine? Cocaine's illegal. You know what's not? That $250 million.
Oh yeah, boy.
Now give us some.
Well, I mean, that'd be what? It's what, 7% at that rate? I don't know what the rich people's taxes are.
Actually, around 40%.
40%? Jesus.
Oh yeah, that's the not so fun part of winning like the jackpot in the lottery. Say goodbye
I
to
mean, unless
roughly
you're
a
in
third
Florida.
of that.
You're like, think about this way, like if you somehow like, there's these online roulette sites that actually put like properties up for like if you get really lucky. So if you get like a million, like a property worth a couple of million over there, you lose more money in property tax than you actually gain by just having that property sitting around.
Well, yeah,
it's
it's
actually
like
a really big problem.
I would say it's
in
one of
the,
those things. Oprah gave everyone a car, and that
Yeah.
ended up fucking a lot of people over
Yeah.
because they were gifted a car.
The other thing though is that all those like home renovation shows that they're like, oh, we took your home and did X Y Z to it, actually are twofold in their problems. Is that typically because of the time frame given and the budget they have, it's usually really shittily done, and on top of that, the property value goes up, and the people tend to not be able to afford that home anymore.
Because I would say when they're in the kind of house that, generally speaking, needs the kind that enters to win like a property makeover, renovation, or whatever, they can't do it themselves.
Yeah.
Alright, I just dropped by to say hi.
Well,
See you
hey
guys
now,
tomorrow.
Isley. We never said you could kill or rape, but
One
as
second.
long as you're selling drugs and you report that, I mean, we'll still get you for the killing and the rape, but we won't be able to get you on the income tax. Does that mean the kids at the Kids Great Baking Championship have to tax their winnings?
It might apply
Hmm.
differently for children. Also, it
Well, I mean,
varies based on the amount.
Yeah, it does. If it's under 10,000, it's fine. You don't have to report it. But I think the parents do in fact actually have to report any income their dependents make.
That's
Because they're supposed to be dependent. Anyway, moving on. I stayed where I was for a moment before pushing off the wall and starting down the alley away from the bay. I couldn't stay here all night, not unless I wanted to get stumbled on by a merchant, and I'd rather not be another statistic, thanks. I made my way through the maze of dark streets, thinking hard while doing my best to keep an eye out for trouble. I had no idea what to do now. As far as I could tell, I didn't have any powers, and my pockets were empty, and I didn't have any money that could be used in America anyway, and my knowledge of Worm was spotty at best. I mean, I knew the basics and had a rough idea of the events at the start and the end game, but it was nowhere near enough to pass as a precog. If I tried, I'd be fingered as a fake and tossed out of my ear in moments, or thrown into the loony bin. Ha! That just furthers your complete ineptitude, author. We don't have loony bins anymore. We got rid of them all and just threw all the mentally challenged people into jail. Because apparently, that's better.
No, we do actually still have some asylums. They're just privatized.
Yeah. The only other thing I could think of was to get the Cauldron's attention, but that was a horrible idea. I couldn't pay for a vial, and I can't help but think they'd be more likely to put a bullet in me than deal with me. Plus, I did not like the idea of being in debt.
Depth. Interesting.
Debt with that bunch of psychos.
They're really not psychos.
Or sociopathic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sociopaths? Perfectly fair statement.
Boom! I nearly jumped out of my skin at the sudden explosion and looked up just in time to see a huge pillar of fire erupt from a warehouse across the street in a dark shape falling towards me. Crash! Ow. That hurt. I groaned as I sat up, rubbing my head. Then I opened my eyes and found myself face to face with a shocked-looking Taylor Hebert. Hebert. How do I know she looked shocked when she wears a full face mask? Because her mask and costume had been burnt and torn rather badly, to the point where only one eye was covered and most of her face was clearly visible. Then a sound from above made me look up again, before I was forced to jump up with Taylor in my arms as a very pissed-off Long landed where we had been sitting with a loud crash. "Ah-yeah!" roared the rage dragon. "Meep!" I yelped and scarpered. Fucking bricks.
Meat.
The part of my mind not busy panicking noted that I shouldn't be able to run this fast as I was unencumbered, let alone with a grill in my arms. Okay.
That is...
Do you people not remember how
I don't think he remembers how grammar works.
maybe it's one of those weird British things that we Americans aren't smart enough to get.
Yeah, Because he's Red Worm, Alvin. Ah, lovely, more blood.
Sneaky, quit fucking dying and quit fucking drinking.
No.
Please?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes. Taylor was a lightweight, but so
I
was
tried
I.
Atin.
I might be skinny, but I was also an inactive geek with very little in ways of muscle. I mean, 7 years ago, I actually had muscle. Guess whatever dropped me here gave me a boost, so that was nice. Not enough to fight, but more than enough to flee like a coward. Then again, I was running away from a very angry rage dragon, so I'm not sure that it's cowardice or just being smart. It's just being smart. Honestly, when your enemy turns into a giant rage dragon capable of coating itself in plasma, and it states on multiple occasions that it wants to kill you, and then its face cuts in half like it's freaking alien from Resident Evil, I mean, it's basically fair at that point to run like fucking hell.
Yeah.
Discretion is the better part of valor, and I'm gonna find out for sure right now.
Yes. What was less smart was the fact that I was still carrying Taylor. Not that I thought I should have left her to die or something, but unlike me, she actually did have powers and had taken down Lung and Cannon, so she should have been fine. And Then again, she didn't get smacked off the roof or her costume destroyed in canon, so maybe not. I glanced down at the girl in my arms and nearly tripped as I saw the expression on her face, considering we were being chased by one of the scariest capes in the bay and she was basically unmasked to a complete stranger. I had
Hey
expected
guys,
fear.
Calvin doesn't hate us. Thanks, Calvin.
Thank you, Calvin.
Also, we apparently count as people.
Yes. Oh, wait,
Congratulations on your
counts as
promotion.
people? What the hell?
Sneaky, congratulations on your promotion from gremlin to human.
Excuse you. You never proved that I was gremlin.
I will post the slanted text on a computer.
That's vaguely racist.
You are a gremlin. You are a walking technological hazard in a meat suit.
This is fair.
Yeah, honestly, that's going to be the bigger issue, is I'm going to have to probably, like, get some hardened wiring through whatever compound we inevitably build. And pray to God it's
Max,
enough.
only wired internet. Only wired communications. We will have landlines going throughout the house for every room.
Fuck you. I expected fear or worry at the very least, and instead she looked aroused.
You want to run that by us again, author?
Nope. Nope.
Her cheeks were flushed, her eyes hooded, and she was breathing rather heavily and radiating heat. The fuck? A moment later, Taylor's eyes widened and she started squirming. What? Hold still, unless you want to. Gugh! I stumbled as Taylor elbowed me in the gut, making me loosen grip enough so that she could squirm loose and start backing away. You! What are you doing to me? She demanded, although her voice was breathy as she seemed to be having trouble standing. I'm not doing anything, I wheezed, other than saving your ass from Long. Taylor shook her head and she wavered on her feet. You must be doing something. My body feels so hot. Without thinking, I jumped forward as her legs collapsed, catching her in my arms. Whoa, are you alright? Are you sick? I didn't think she was, since, as I previously mentioned, she seemed more aroused than ill. Plus, this reaction was pinging something in my memory, like I knew what was causing it. I didn't think why that was, I don't know, though. Taylor squirmed weakly for a moment before she looked up, met my eyes, and relaxed. I don't want to be mastered. She slurred as her eyes clouded over. Then, before I could react, she leapt up and kissed me. What happened next wasn't even close to being at the top of what I expected to happen after getting beamed into the worm burst. The moment Taylor's lips touched mine, I felt something warm surge through me and into her before the alleyway was lit up by a brilliant rainbow-colored light. Taylor broke the kiss as her back arched with a moan that I did not expect to come out of her mouth as a massive pair of butterfly-like wings erupted from her back, with a very familiar crest between them. A crest consisting of a wagtail, 4 magatama, and a yin-yang symbol. What? Unfortunately, the revelation that Taylor was somehow a Sakurai, seriously, what the fuck, would have to wait because the light from the winging had attracted Lung's attention. The dragon came crashing around the corner, spotted us, and erupted into an even more powerful flames as he started sprinting towards us on all fours. Burn! He roared. Before I could react, Taylor moved. By the swarm of my contract, my Ashikabi's fears will be devoured. And
at least they were a little original with it.
I mean, they could drop the frickin' Japanese of it, just saying. You know.
Huh?
Ashikabi is Japanese word.
Yeah. But I mean, for better or for worse, they kept it in the English dub too. So.
Okay, but that's because it was a thing.
I get it. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, I know. I hold it on the same level of when people are like in America or in the familiar verse or etc., and they're still using San and Chan. It's like,
Yes.
no, they're French. They're not using San and Chan, guys. And yes, Calvin, it's Japanese, so of course they are going to be making references to Sailor Moon. Instantly, the darkness around us became alive as a humongous. Right.
Not another fucking bottle.
And descended on Long like a biblical plague. He roared in fury and released a blast of fire that did dick all to the swarm. Odd choice of wording. However, it did allow me to get a glimpse of the insects, and I realized they definitely were not natural ones. Not when they were scarabs the size of my hand. It didn't take long for Lung's roars of rage to become ones of pain.
Actually, scarabs the size of your hand are both possible and terrifying.
Well, they also eat you.
Yeah. There are literal flesh-eating beetles the size of your hand that exist in this world. They're terrifying. Kind of like the tarantula hawk.
Yes.
Oh, good lord. I'm surprised Taylor never tried to buy a tarantula hawk.
I'm not. It would be kind of, obvious.
Sorry, what did I miss?
Okay, but when she was at the point of, like, being just a full-on villain, I'm surprised she didn't try for that.
That's fair.
So,
That's fair.
what am I missing?
Taylor with tarantula hawks.
You
That's
do know what a
horrifying.
tarantula hawk is, right?
Yes, it's fucking horrifying.
It didn't take long for long blah 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 blah. He was being eaten by
Yes,
the
Calvin.
bugs.
Calvin, the tarantula hawk is not. It's not just a giant wasp. It's one that literally goes and kills tarantulas to lay eggs in them.
Indeed. Fucking wasps, man. Most wasps are parasitic, don't you know?
Yeah.
I swallowed. This wasn't right. Lung was scum, but he didn't deserve to be eaten alive like something out of The Mummy. I mean, he runs.
Some people would argue with that.
I will argue with that. I mean, the guy runs kidnapping rings in which he kidnaps the daughters of the people he's supposed to be quote-unquote protecting, and then sells them in prostitution whorehouses. I'm pretty sure eaten alive, a decent number of people would be okay with.
I was gonna say, yeah, you know what? I'm on board with that too.
I thought that was canon. No, that's canon. Long does some fucked up shit in canon. Yeah. Hey,
He's
that's
not
enough.
a very nice man.
Oh, Calvin, there's no point telling Sneaky to take care of himself. He's way too far gone already. Most of it's not even his fault.
Isley, the abductions with the bomb implants and the meth labs, that was all Bakuda. That was not Long. But still, that's the kind of subordinates Long had. Hey, what if I just turned all my troops into suicide bombers?
I was gonna say, Oni Lee was the least offensive one, because all he did was murder people.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on. Blah, blah, blah. No response. I looked at her and saw her eyes were strangely glazed. That can't be good. I grabbed both her shoulders and shook her. Hey, can you hear me? That's enough. If you keep going, you'll kill him. Taylor! At the sound of her name, Taylor snapped out of whatever trance she was in. She blinked as her eyes cleared. She blinked a couple of times before her gaze focused on me and she went red. Eep. She shoved me in the chest and I went flying back into the wall behind me. Right. Sakurai all have superhuman strength. Still on the upside, now that she wasn't under whatever trance her winging had put her in, the swarm had vanished, leaving Long whimpering in a pool of his own blood, looking very worse for the wear. You...
Okay, here's the problem with that. The way Lung's powers work, you need to be leaving now.
Yes.
Because you've now left him in pain, whimpering.
Yes.
In about 5 minutes, he's going to be pissed beyond all belief.
Yes. Bro, what did you do to me? Are you a master? How do you know my name? Oh god, that was my... She let out a high-pitched whine and sank to the ground. Steam! Billowing from her head, she was blushing so hard. Literally, did this world work on anime logic?
Might have been better off if this hadn't been a self-insert.
A little bit, yeah.
I would say significantly better off.
I hesitated, not entirely sure what to say. What could I say? It was rather obvious she had no idea what was going on, and to be fair, I didn't either. Was she actually a Sekirei, or did I have some extremely weird Master Trump power that allowed me to turn anyone I kissed into Sekirei? Not impossible, but a tad unlikely. That said, how the hell am I supposed to convince Taylor of that? I mean, from her point of view, it made sense. I appear out of nowhere, save her neck, and next thing she knows, she's burning up and full of a desire to kiss me. That sounds like heartbreaker shit. God, I wish there was someone around who could help me with this. Well, I wasn't expecting to find this on patrol tonight. I nearly jumped out of my skin at the sound of a voice and spun around to see a figure clad in black stood over Long, poking him with a toe. Who are you? I asked. The person looked
See,
up,
here's the thing. This would have been far more interesting if Armsmaster had showed up and Armsmaster was also a Sekirei. That would have been way more fun.
That would... Actually, if you really wanted to go with like the super comedy route, you would have gotten Assault out on the street for this.
Of course.
That would have been perfect.
Who are you? The person looked up, revealing a slightly unkempt-looking Japanese man with brown hair and
I
jeans,
think the
white
funniest
vest,
would have
and
been Glory
jacket
Girl,
with fur
because she
around
would
the
have had to
collar.
deal with someone else messing with her emotions for once.
I'm a curious, but no, even better. Glory Girl is a Sekirei, and frickin' what's her face? Panacea is her Ashikabi.
I mean, yeah, that's about as good as it gets. That is about as good as it gets.
That is as good as it gets, yeah. I'm just a curious bystander. I have to say I'm impressed. Not many Sekirei are strong enough to go toe-to-toe with Lung after being winged. I blinked, suppressing the urge to gape. Well, there goes any idea I was a Trump. Sekirei? What? Hey, Seo, you know we're being watched, right? I jumped and looked to see two identical girls in S&M outfits.
Oh, great, this guy's here.
Yep. Don't worry about it. They're not close enough to hear us. Besides, someone needs to fill these
Can we just skip
in.
this nonsense?
Blah blah blah. Sekirei plan, maybe, possibly. Blah blah. Taylor, is that you? Mr. Kaoru. Wow, this is awkward. Does your dad know you're here? I see. Well, I won't tell Danny. You picked a fight with Long. Come with me. Can I ask you why? Because I'm terrible at explaining things and someone needs to fill you in. Also, Taylor needs new clothes. Oh, okay, Taylor. What do you say? Taylor eyed my hand, but she took my hand. But she kept staring at me with her cheeks pink all the time. And then we arrived at our destination, which was a 2-floor Japanese-style house proclaiming itself to be, you guessed it, Izumo Inn.
Just randomly about middle of the Wormverse, cause I'm lazy.
Yeah, it's just chilling in Brockton Bay.
No, it's not like they wouldn't have had to go to a fucking dirt cheap motel where the dude could get ripped off exchanging pounds for dollars.
Yeah, I'm more interested in how the Sekirei have all gone undercover and are not heroes or villains,
Yeah.
and successfully have done that for however many years this has been going on.
They've
for.
just been out and about.
Out in the boot.
Anyway,
Never forget, by the way. Never forget that Australia made a petition to call their currency the dollar-redo, and it almost passed, and it should have passed.
what is it now?
It's just the Australian dollar, which is
Oh, it
boring.
should have been the dollar-redo.
A bunch of people were like, "Yo, we should call it the dollar-redo."
I mean, I'm sure they're gonna call it the dollar-redo anyway.
It'll happen in the apocalypse.
Mia won't mind revealing a woman in question, murderous look, what many time it is, a new bird gained her wings, looking at Taylor. Alright, come on in. 10 minutes later, we're sitting down, it's Mia. Introduce herself as Mia, dressed like she is in the anime.
'Cause I'm lazy and a bad author.
First things first, my name is Mia. Taylor Herbert, Lucas Smith. I assume you know that you are adopted, Taylor? She was surprised. Yes, but how did you know that? Because you're a Sekirei. Alright, well let me tell you a story. Sekirei unearthed that. Apparently Manaka never found the ship, but instead something else resulted in the ship waking up. Of course, just, something else did, but we don't know.
No idea what
Waking
it
Mia
is.
up way earlier, due to reasons she neglected to go into, she decided to move the Iwafuni ship containing the flock to America before releasing the Sekirei. While the first 9 were born with their powers intact to act as protectors, the other 99 were modified by Mia, so they didn't have powers, and then they were just left at different orphanages across the US and Canada. And then all the single
Course.
digits went their own way. Uh-huh. And of course, Mia just happened to choose Brockton Bay, set up her inn in, and Taylor just happened to be a Sekirei, of course. And so, something just happened to wake her up a decade earlier, and something just happened to let her modify them all.
Yeah. Don't know where you're going with this, Sneaky. At all, it seems above board to me.
The seal was... I designed the seal on the Sekirei powers so it would look like a triggering. Blah, blah. I should go home. You're not. You're gonna be staying here. You know my dad? Let's just say your mom and I used to work together. Besides, the two of you really need to talk. Taylor was blushing at me again. Unfortunately, I only have one room available. However, I expect you'll want to talk to each other before you turn in. However, don't do any hanky-panky under my roof.
There goes the cork again. Boy.
The planet, as far as I remember, was never mentioned in canon of Sekirei.
The what?
The planet.
Planet, where they're from.
Not that I recall. Just, oh yeah, we're totally aliens.
Yep.
Where you're from? We're aliens. Oh, okay,
We're aliens
got it.
from the alien planet. Oh, okay. Also, congratulations, main character. You've seduced a 15-year-old. Yeah. Yeah. The Oni mask appeared behind her, and I swear I heard someone chanting in backwards Latin. Wow. The Orin mask vanished as Mia's smile became less demonic and more motherly housewife. Holy fuck, that was scary. I
Can we
guess,
just
Taylor
continue
muttered.
skipping the super lazy nonsense?
And then blah blah blah. Taylor was blushing as I held her hand. How lewd. We need to talk. What do we need to talk about? The whole Ashikabi Sakurai thing. What about it? Damn it, Taylor. Now is not the time to be obtuse. You heard what Mia said downstairs. We are now bound together. I know what she said, but I find that hard to believe. I'm not an alien. For all I know, you're just a heartbreaker, Master. If that's the case, why would I bother with all this? If I was Heartbreaker 2.0, you'd be drugged up and you would never question me anyway. Why would I make such an unbelievable story? Yeah, but that's could be why the story is so unbelievable. So, you know Seo? Yeah, he worked with my dad. Okay, well he seems to be aware of everything. Well, you could have mastered my dad and Seo too. Do you really believe that? No, I don't. But I feel like I know you. It's weird. I don't know you, but I trust you completely. I can even feel your emotions. Worry, exasperation, and fear? Why are you so scared? I shifted at the extremely strange sensation of Taylor's emotions seeping across the bond, making all the more odd by the fact that she herself was confused by the emotions she was feeling. Sekirei are creatures of emotion, especially when it comes to the Yashikabi. It's very clear that it takes hardly any time at all for them to become attached or even fall in love with said Ashikabi. Also, that's another fucking thing. They're called Sekirei and Ashikabi because that's what Manaka said as a translation for what they are. Like, that's not them saying this is what we are. That was a name given to them by Manaka, who never found them in this fic. So why are they still calling themselves Sekirei and Ashikabi? Because what's consistency?
You sound upset.
Go ahead, take another poll. We know you want to.
I'm a little tired. Oh, it's fine. Blah blah blah, emotions, emotions, emotions. She was attracted to me. Emotions, fear, emotions, 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 emotions. How am I supposed to approach this? Emotions, emotions. Everyone here is a fictional character. How do I handle this? Emotions, emotions. A pair of warm hands taking mine made me look up in surprise. Taylor had slipped off her seat and was kneeling in front of me, looking up at my face with clear worry. Please, Lucas, talk to me. I don't really know if I believe all this Sekirei stuff, but seeing you like this hurts me. You said it yourself. We need to talk to each other. Alright, well then I'll tell you the truth.
Tension, no.
What?
Attention suggesting that you read a fic, and I just don't like the look of that title.
Well, if Tension wants me to read that fic, then he better get his ass in this frickin' podcast. Lucas might be jumping the gun when he tells Taylor about how he's from a different universe in which she's a fictional character. But
Nah, that
they're all
can't possibly
talking from
backfire.
emotions. Speaking of which, 2 other canon characters will be turning into Sekirei, which will also wing themselves on Lucas. You might be able to guess who, but probably not. I also plan to wing a single digit to him,
Glory
but I'm
Girl
not
and
sure
Panasha?
who. Mutsu's a dick and I have plans for him. And Matsu's not there either. I'm open to suggestions on that front. Before we go, here have Anomake, the mouse-eared crow. Karasuba is mouse protector.
That can only end poorly.
Also, read my damn freaking story, Sneaky. Fine. We'll look at it. I don't know Dragon Ball like at all though, so
None of us do.
Max does.
Sorry, what? I'm passively familiar.
That's more familiar than I am. Oh, Dragon Ball Super. Why is there different freaking sections for all of this?
Wait. I'm sorry. Dragon Ball Super has its own spot.
Yeah, apparently Fate the Fate series can't get its own shit, but frickin' Dragon Ball can separate itself by series.
The only thing that needs to be separate from Dragon Ball is GT, because GT is non-canon. That's it. That's the only thing that needs to have its own place. For God, fuck people.
Alright, words, dumb words, Itachi, Sasuke,
Look, the only
murder,
words I know are Vegeta and Goku.
This makes me angry.
Superpowered words. Now Sasuke is the Saiyan.
Yeah, okay,
Also,
so you guys
Orochimaru and Kaba work together or some shit. I don't fucking know.
you guys want to hear something really stupid?
Sure.
Sure.
There are 4 Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Super crossovers, 19 GT crossovers, and 44 Z crossovers.
Why do they all have
People
their
are-
own sections?
I want to know why people are crossing Dragon Ball with Dragon Ball. Never.
I don't know. I think my favorite's still gonna be the Star Wars crossovers.
I'm sorry, that's a thing now?
Yeah, we'll bring it up.
I assume it's crossing new garbage Star Wars with old, actually good Star Wars.
No. Star Wars. Okay. Star Wars crossovers with Star Wars.
Okay. Hang on now. To be fair, Star Wars is split by video games and books.
And movies.
No, it's not. Those are all
And
part of the same
movies.
universe.
Yes, except they are on fanfiction.net. It's split into Star Wars games, Star Wars movies, and Star Wars books.
Hang on a second. Wait. Did I?
Star Wars Episode 7 and 8. 7 was a ripoff of
Okay.
4, and 8 was a trash heap that caught on fire, had oil poured onto it, then was put out by just sheer amounts of people shitting on it, and then set on fire again.
Yeah, anyways, so for some reason Dragon Ball is split between 4 sections, but the one actual thing that needs to be separate no matter what, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, because that is as non-canon as it gets, does not have its own section under games. Because Star Wars has its own section under every fucking genre, apparently. I don't understand people. I don't understand humanity.
Alright, so we got speaking of Fate Stay Night, let's do this one next.
I hate you.
At least we're not looking at the Uchiha Saiyan.
The incompetence in the fanfiction world. Yeah, basically.
Calvin has just linked something in the fanfiction section called I Dream of Naruto.
Oh.
Please
Oh,
tell me
I'm
this
ready
is
to
what I
click it.
think it is.
Oh no.
Exactly what I think it is.
Oh yes.
It is
Sneaky.
it is a
Sneaky.
one shot.
This is the opposite of a veto. I am endorsing it for reading.
It is a one shot. The author put it up for adoption.
After saving Spring Country, Naruto and his team finally have downtime. While his team rested, Naruto went out to have a look at the different flowers that were growing around the palace. Who would have thought his walkabout would cause him to stumble upon a mischievous green bottle half buried in the ground? How will Naruto's life turn out now, up for adoption? What the fuck is I Dream of Genie?
What? You've never heard of I Dream of Genie?
No.
It was a super popular show back in... When was it, Max? Do you know?
Way before our time. But it's one of those things that I fucking grew up on.
I have
'Cause-
never even heard of it.
It ran from 1965 to 1970.
Wow, that.
And it's
5
just about a
years.
normal dude it's about a normal dude in 1965 America that just
Oh, keep in mind,
finds a
dude
lamp.
was I believe dude was an astronaut in the military as well.
Oh yeah. And it just kind of ensued from there.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Huh. I mean, it gets referenced pretty often. Huh? That's weird.
Really?
Yeah. I still hear it mentioned sometimes today.
I've literally never heard someone reference it. This is the first time in my life I've even found out that this was a thing.
Huh.
And apparently they had 2 movies.
What?
One in 1985 and one in 1991. Both aired October 20th.
90 what? That's not that old then.
Not the movie, no.
Well, yeah,
Anyway,
That's
back to this
30
garbage.
years.
The Fate-Stained Knight, Familiar of Zero. The Witch and the Hound by Gay Durg. After a life-altering failure during the second-year summoning ritual, Luis tries one last time to summon alone, and drags a certain blue-haired lancer to her side. A certain
What the
blue-haired
fuck?
lancer.
Oh, this is fucked up.
What?
I'm reading the summaries for the movies. I'm gonna copy paste these to you. These are fucked up.
Anyway, Louise was curled up in her bed, her strawberry blonde hair barely covering her face. That was
So I
distorted
assume
by
that's the first one. I mean, okay, that's not
strawberry
too
blonde.
bad.
Anyways, which one were we looking at? Oh, Witch and the Hound, right? Yes, of course.
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus, what is that second summary? What the fuck?
That's strawberry blonde. That's strawberry blonde. That is not Luis's hair color.
Huh?
Sorry, is the author describing Louise's hair color as strawberry
Yes,
blonde?
the author is describing this hair color as this.
I think that checks out.
It's pink, author. Pink. Pink. Also, goddammit, Zero. Fucking stop with your lewd background images.
They refuse.
It is not strawberry blonde, it's pink. Shut the fuck up, you German.
Okay, if we just get like an RGB analyzer and just click on that hair, it's not gonna show up as strawberry blonde. I'm fairly certain.
It's not. The unreal events of the day played back in her mind. Played back in her mind. Played back. Woo woo woo. Flashback time!
Yeah.
She failed to summon a familiar during the ceremony, even though she had tried hard so many times. It was even enough to make her peers stop gawking and stand silent with pity showing across their faces. After huming Louise's begs to try again one last time, Professor Colbert decided enough was enough and sent away the distraught young woman to the headmaster before she died from exhaustion. Louise's moments in the officer. Oh, Luis's moments in the officer, eh?
Please continue. Did Isley link us this story? Is that what this degeneracy comes from?
I didn't realize we were going with a Fuda Luis for this story, but okay.
I wish you hadn't said those words out loud, because I'm sure that exists.
Oh, I'm positive it exists somewhere.
I hate you.
Did you look it up?
No. Why would I do that?
I don't know. Oh, what caused her to finally break down? I mean, I would break down too, I suppose. It seemed like to confirm all the taunts her classmates made over the year, causing her deepest fears to come crashing down on her. Now, Miss Valerie, I regret to inform you that we must report today's happenings to your parents.
Okay, hold on a minute, Isley. Why do you know that that's... Why is it every time we bring one of these up, you already know about it?
I think Isley is preempting that with Isley as a researcher.
Okay, you know what? At this point, she knows so much. If I ever get the money, or if we ever get the money, I'm going to be putting part of my stipend to getting her a little shack somewhere near the compound so she can just research.
Put her in her small shack. Really, Max?
She'll just have her own little shack.
No, look, it'll be a shack. There'll be chains and whips. She'll have everything she needs.
Oh boy. Oh. And then we can sell the archives and give her like a 70%, payment off.
Exactly. Joking aside, at this point, I do want to meet Isley. I just want to see what kind of is at this point. Like.
Yeah, well, maybe if we become famous enough to show up to conventions, that'll happen.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So, like 15 more years. Got it.
Exactly. Now Miss Valerie, headmasters are incapable, blah 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 blah. Rage, beating her pillows. Who's incapable? She repeated. You. The fatigue
Well,
from casting
Calvin,
her
if you want
summons.
us to show up to a convention, you're gonna have to help us out here. Get some more people watching.
Yeah,
Help
you
us
have
get
to
money.
promote us more, you know?
Listen, if you get us enough money, our first convention will be Germany. We'll do it. I will go to Germany on a passport, and when they say, "Why are you here?" I'll say, "For a fan fiction convention."
You'll be
I'll
going on
stand
your own
right
then.
in customs.
You'll be on your own then for that.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I'll be the sole representative to Germany.
I would rather you go than Sneaky, that's damn sure.
Sneaky is never allowed to make an appearance. Let me rephrase that. Sneaky is never allowed to make an unsupervised appearance.
Little does he know, I'll just appear randomly at other places.
It's the Sneaky everywhere system.
No, we will literally... I'm sorry, hold on a minute. What is that supposed to mean, Isley? Second of all, we will literally hire a PR person whose sole job is to follow Sneaky around saying, "No comment."
Taro and just wear a mask everywhere. How do you feel about that?
I mean, as long as you can't be heard, it's good.
Sneaky is sneaky. Max is 2 PR and Sneaky is 60. I think she's throwing shade at you, Atin.
No, she very clearly did. She called me a Nazi, which I resent.
Yes, I am very sneaky. Remember, Max? I'm so sneaky!
Sneaky, if you'll give me like 3 seconds to explain the timing, I got this! You cannot play stealth games with this
If I
man.
just stand still, they can't see me. That's not how that works. Completely walk past me. What?
No, that system was fine. I believe it was, Sneaky, please don't open fire with a non-silence pistol.
It's a stealth mission. Everyone's dead.
Ironically enough, of the few missions we played in Splinter Cell Conviction, the one time it was an assault mission, you fucked up and died because you couldn't hit shit.
Remember the time in Far Cry 4 that I stealthily took an outpost with an RPG while riding an elephant?
Yes. I also remember the time that you shot a helicopter down and I managed to jump through the open door because apparently the hitboxing was that solid. Had a lot of good times Far Cry 4.
Yeah. That was actually really good.
Oh, look, Sneaky, the rope has physics.
Max, no!
Right to the fucking propeller with you. Honestly, I think the interesting part was finding out that the parachute ropes had physics on it.
Oh no! Spins around the tree, launches into the air. Oh no!
And then
Good job,
unfortunately
Sneaky.
No, that was me.
Oh, yeah,
I opened the
just
parachute.
parachuting down and I look over to Max and he's spinning around the tree.
No, Sneaky, I believe I chopped you up in the propeller and that broke the propeller.
Oh, yes.
So you got to look at it from third person as I spun around the branch, got relaunched, had no parachute and no wingsuit, and ate shit on a boulder.
Yeah. Far Cry 4 physics were good.
Max, remember the time we lagged out of an explosion in GTA?
That was the best. You were trying so hard to destroy me, and my lag
No,
won.
I wasn't. I was trying to help us. It was on the bank heist, remember?
Yeah, we put C4 on the front of the car and then set it off, and we lagged through the explosion as everything else died.
Oh, or remember the time Sneaky managed to get a car perfectly stuck in a tree?
That happened a couple
That
times.
actually happened quite a number of times.
Yeah, like that was the very common occurrence with him.
Warhammer and Goblin Slayer crossover. I mean, I think I've seen that story. It's okay. Anyway, so Luis is chanting in her room. And demands her familiar to be summoned.
So here's my problem with this. Why did it work this time?
Because she's not using a summoning circle or a spell.
Oh, that's right. That did use a circle, didn't it?
Yeah. Even though to summon a servant, you also need a circle and actually longer.
There goes Calvin.
Spell.
Bye, Calvin.
Bye, Calvin.
No, Isley, I am not okay. I am dealing with sinus drainage at the moment.
I'm dealing with death.
You're always dealing with death. That's nothing new with you. One day we'll find you those anti-death pills.
One day. Maybe if I eat enough lobster, I'll just assimilate their unaging.
Sneaky, the problem isn't that you're aging, the problem is that your body's killing you.
This is also factual. Anyway, so Lancer's talking with Saber's master. Blah 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 blah. The boy's presence faded from the pier, and once again the blue-haired angler sat alone, waiting for a tug on his line. Wait, what setting is this from? Why is Lancer just fishing alone in his own world? Anyway, isn't that interesting? A portal appeared, and he's looking at it, and he stepped around the portal, except his E-rank luck kicked in as a mackerel in his bucket leaped out and landed underneath his foot, causing him to slide headfirst into the green spot. Blah blah, he's falling through the abyss, blah blah, he materialized, blah blah, quickly realizing no excitement was around. He cleared the room of smoke. That's when his eyes narrowed at the figure of a girl, illuminated by moonlight, haggard, and she was ready to collapse. "Help me," she came from her lips. Not sure what to make the situation, Lancer collected the small master's body. "Help me is a vague request, lass." He took a look around the room, and then leaped out of the room into the courtyard. Blah blah, dashing away into the distance, disappearing into the forest. Okay. What? I'm honestly a bit confused by this. Help me!
You don't say.
Okay, I'll help you. I'm gonna pick you up and then run into the forest. How is that helping? I'll just put her back into the bed. Whatever. What? Apparently, are you guys ready for a comedy routine?
No.
The darkness of Louise's dreamless sleep broke as her tiny eyes cracked open to the sweet alarm of chirping birds. She groaned as she shut her eyes again, wondering why she'd ever left her window open in the first place. In her dazed morning ritual, she sat up and slowly made her way to the edge of her leaf-covered rock, where she would stand facing her tree and brush her hair with a twig.
What?
And then she moved to the right, opening up the thin air to grab a uniform she was already in. Louise froze rigidly after realizing she was in fact not in her room but was in the middle of the woods. What started as surprise quickly turned to panic when the small girl heard a voice call out to her from behind. Looks like the lass is awake finally. Tall man wearing a style of dress she'd never seen before. Blah blah blah. It's Lancer, the one we all know. What a troublesome master. First you summon me and make a vague request for help, and then you fall asleep for 2 days, and now you don't even know who you summoned. The man rambled with an amused smirk, but Luisa's thoughts were clear on master and summoned. Then she smiled. I summoned a familiar. I summoned a familiar! Yay! The man looked down to her, letting loose a friendly laugh. Don't you think it's a little early in our relationship for hugs? Blah blah blah, embarrassing, commoner, Woods. What do you think you're saying to your
Alright,
master,
hold on
commoner?
a minute. Hold on a minute. Absolutely nothing about this is this Ku or
Yes,
the other one?
Shalane.
Yeah, this is Ku. Nothing about Ku would say commoner.
No.
He is in full armor. Granted, not like plate, but
With silver
Well,
filigree.
Okay,
yeah, I was gonna say
no, never mind that. Like he's in a tight-fitting bodysuit. This man is ripped.
With
he's
silver
ripped.
filigree.
Not ripped the way a farmer would be. Ripped as in this guy's clearly a soldier or
And
a
he's
warrior.
and he has a big red spear of doom.
And red
That's
eyes.
well, not only that, his spear is like it has all kinds of patterns and etching on it. Like nothing about that thing is plain.
Oh boy.
Blah blah blah. I finally summoned a familiar and just some commoner with bad manners. She humped in disbelief. Do you have a name, commoner? His voice opened to voice his awe of the situation in the form of an exaggerated ha before raising his hand and flicking his master in the forehead, causing her to squeak. Listen here, lass. You didn't summon a familiar who blindly listened to you ramble on like you're talking to dirt. I am Servant Lancer, true Shalane, who was summoned for you for reasons I have yet to understand, but that does not give you the right to speak to me as though I am below you. The man who addressed himself as Q, great intimidation and inhuman aura, blah blah blah, his strange style of dress melted away under a gust of golden motes, leaving him standing in an elaborate aquamarine leather armor with iron shoulder pads and blah blah blah, a strange form of magic. And then all the tension that was there was dissipated by Luis's stomach gurgling like a monster. Oh wow, this trope again. Ha ha ha. So funny. Well, sure, the spear was seen as a commoner's weapon, but I'm fairly certain the entire length of the Derg or whatever the fuck it's called is K-Bulge. Right, K-Bulge. Was made of metal.
Sneaky, that joke stopped being funny when people were in like middle school.
And? I don't see your point.
Nothing.
Okay.
Cool.
Blah 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 blah. Luis ate the rabbit. blah blah, asking Lancer questions, and blah blah. He told her. He left out some details because he was pretty sure there was no Holy Grail War. Fucking finally, even if this story is garbage, I am so tired of Familiar Zero Fates the Night stories in which Luis summons a person from the Fate verse, whether it's a servant or not, and then because she summoned them, suddenly they're a servant, and suddenly there's a freaking Holy Grail War going on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
suddenly, like, 8 other people also have servants, and it's just like, what the shit's going on? This is stupid. There's a bigger plot going on in Familiar of Zero than the basis of every sort of Fate story.
Yeah. Oh, like at most there should be like, so where's the Holy Grail at?
Where the Grail at?
Like at most, like, so have you met any other masters in the Holy Grail War? Well, there's a Holy Grail in Legends, but we don't have a war. What?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
of
there's no
course,
war going on.
Reconquista always has, like, 4 masters on their roster, and they're all, like, big-name servants that get summoned.
Okay, Sneaky. So that is what Guy Bulk looks like in Fate. Now, while it's not as fancy as I thought, nothing about that says commoner.
Yeah, also, that's entirely metal, so...
I was gonna say
Yeah.
it's a red metal spear
Etched with runes.
etched with runes
think.
and with ornate
Oh.
carvings on the handle.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it didn't belong to a servant, I would say it's an ornamental piece of junk.
Anyway,
Unfortunately, it belongs to a servant. So get fucked.
Luisa's reactions became more animated, and she stammered, "Did I really summon something so powerful from another world? If she hadn't witnessed his transformation, she would have written off as a commoner's lies. In fact, the young girl could hardly believe the man wasn't a noble, though she guessed that couldn't possibly be a lie, since someone with such strange abilities would obviously be well known." Okay, wow, so actually a rational Luis. I'm shocked.
Hey, it's a proper
Because
Louise.
I was reading a story earlier that wasn't too bad, but it was, like, the reason why I'm not reading it on here is because it was actually not that bad. It was just the author never used spell check and constantly spelled Luis's name as Luis, Lusi, Lucy, whatever.
Lusi. That sounds like Lucy.
Just,
A really weird
constantly
spelling
butchered her name, and would constantly butcher other words as well. And it was just so, like, it was draining to read. But that's not why I dropped it. Why I dropped it was she summons a Void Spec Warlock post Destiny 1.
Warlocks are the lamest.
And the Warlock goes, "Yes, I know a lot about stuff, and I am a Void Warlock." And Luis is like, "Well, Void Warlocks, that's heresy." And he's like, "Well, you summoned me, and doesn't that not mean that we are compatible? Does that not mean you are Void as well?" "No, I can't be Void, that's heresy." And then, like,
Fun fact! Classes aren't set in stone in Destiny. All 3 of them can use all of them equally well.
yes. And then
So
like, the
a
next
void
10
warlock
chapters,
doesn't exist.
Then, like, the next 10 chapters was just him being like, "You're a bird mage, Luis!" And her going, "What?" And I was just like, "Alright, I gotta drop this." It was just getting old, you know?
Uh-huh.
Anyway, blah 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 blah. My name is blah blah blah. My name is blah blah blah. Why are we in woods? You requested me for help, so I ran to a safer location. Watched over your sleeping body. Blah blah blah. 2 days missing. Blah blah blah. What's on your mind? She stood up, ignoring his question. He was super strong. Now she wouldn't be kicked out of school anymore. Master, even though I have many talents, I can't read minds. So Louise sat down and explained her entire life story to Lancer. So what you're saying is I made your situation worse. That's why we have to go back. I don't want to know what happened if we were gone for any longer. Then what are we waiting for? I can get us there pretty quickly. What do you mean we're only a stone's throw away? We're clearly far away. Don't let this trouble you too much. It's not like you're being forced to stab yourself in the chest. I'm not a kid. You should be more respectful when you talk to your master. Stop calling me such a cute lass.
You know what? This one isn't terrible. This one isn't terrible.
It's really
Other
not.
than the first chapter being utterly unoriginal, you know what? I would actually keep reading this. I would at least... I'm going to read chapter 2. I'm going to legitimately read chapter 2.
I don't know. As far as Fate and Familiar Zero crossovers go, this first chapter is actually somewhat original.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying compared to what we would like, it's not very original. But I will give it credit. It's better than what I thought.
Yeah. I mean,
Koo is acting like Koo.
Yeah. My only problem is they have Luis be like, "Oh my God, thing. Oh, what's wrong with thing?" And then she like sits down and be like, "Oh well, you see, this here is my life story, and let me just calmly explain everything to you." And then you go, "Oh yes, of course, this is your life story. Interesting, fascination. Well, let us go fix it. Okay, let us go fix it." Like, the moments where the author actually has them acting and actually acting, interacting with each other, it's fairly accurate and true to character. But then when he gets into narrator mode, it's just things happen and everything works out. You know what I mean?
That's true, but to be fair, that's only the first chapter, and they were problems that Koo could easily solve. Like, we're super far away. I'm gonna get in trouble, dude. I'll have you there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. Do we still even do the we're going to cover stuff on Tuesdays anymore?
I mean, I added it to the Tuesday list.
It hasn't happened in a while, but yes.
We haven't been able to do it in a while because of the just dearth of stuff we don't have. Next Tuesday though will definitely be a retro Tuesday where we go back and revisit some of the older stuff to see if it's changed at all in chapter 2.
I hope it has, because this isn't terrible.
No, it's not bad. But anyway, so we had Worm, we had Fate's Day Night, we had Familiar Zero. So how about we do some Elder Scrolls Inheritance Cycle?
Why?
Because I want to watch you suffer. Rise of the Dragons.
Oh no.
With a heart full of pain and hatred towards elvenkind from the Second Thalmor War, the Dovahkiin, prays to find a way to soften his heart and receives a vision of a land warped in
Sneaky,
chaos and violence.
You linked something with a bunch of... Oh, I'm in the wrong chat. Glad I caught myself from being stupid. Please continue.
Preparing himself for this journey, Leonard uses the power of the Dragon Elder Scroll to bring him to a strange land called Iglesia, and arrives in time to help the Battle of Farthander. Forward notation. I am not going to drop my primary story series, Inheritance of Skyrim, which is the opposite of this story in which Aragon ends up in Skyrim. Now, in this story, Rise of the Dragons, the Dragonborn will come into Iglesia. The Dragonborn is also at the height of his power, with all shouts known, every quest completed, and all skills at maximum. For character reference, all perks have been acquired in the following trees: dual wielding, heavy armor, destruction, restoration, enchanting, alchemy, and smithing. Leonard does have every skill at 100%, but very few perks in them. I was never satisfied with the 80 perk maximum, and so I made more perks. And also, every single tree he can be considered as having the core perks in. As such, he has mastered everything.
Okay, I'm sorry, this is post end game Dragonborn
Yes.
who ruffle stomped through the DL how to re-level those perks. This is not going to be a problem in the slightest for him.
He's gonna laugh.
His laugh is going to accidentally kill the villain.
More or less, yeah.
Like, I don't know where the conflict is.
Well, you see, the conflict is actually going to be the main character and his interactions with the heroes as he struggles with his unending urge to slaughter all the elves.
Like,
No, but here's the thing. There's not even that many elves for him to murder. And even leaving that aside, like, what's gonna happen? Oh no, the big bad showed up. Hey, dragon, you work for me now. Foop. I solved the problem, guys.
Yeah, no, I don't know what, like, in One Punch Man, the conflict is I can't find someone to fight. I just found a manga today that was the overpowered hero is too cautious. The conflict is he goes at everything with full force, including slimes. Like,
oh, so killing a slime results in him breaking like a mountain.
No, okay. He overleveled himself. Like, his stats are like 20 times what are necessary to defeat the Demon Lord of this world. He hides those stats from his companion goddess on the off chance there's a monster that can suck out her memories and see what his true stats are. He burns the ashes to ashes and takes out like a city block as a result just to be safe.
I kind of want to read that.
The conflict is, I have to make sure he doesn't accidentally destroy a town to make sure this one dumb fuck of a demon general is dead. The conflict comes from making sure he doesn't accidentally burn the world because of how paranoid he is.
If there's no world to control, the demon general will just leave.
Like, I don't see where the conflict of Raffle Stomp Dragonborn in Inheritance Cycle is going to come from.
There's actually
is going to be a joke.
This not normally a story I would recommend or read because it does actually have sex in it. But there's a story called Force Without Balance. It's a endgame 100 and everything Dragonborn. In D times D verse. Vampire Lord also.
Oh.
And the conflict stems from the author possessing the character. Because they were, playing a shit ton of Skyrim and they got, like...
Right.
Okay. Alright, yeah. Okay.
And so the problem, in the majority of the conflict in the early chapters, comes from the author having his own personality and memories, and then him also remembering all the shit he did as the vampire lord that killed all of Skyrim,
Yeah.
and that
alright.
personality.
That is a conflict. That is
And
the
Say,
first conflict.
It's like it's essentially Overlord. Oh, my subordinates are taking over the world. I should probably stop them, but they might not like me. I'm just gonna let this slide.
But then, no, because the author actually does a decent job of just making him ping pong wildly between being stable and completely insane.
Oh, as would be the case between someone who actually has fuck, I can't think. Multiple personalities.
Yeah.
Because
And
nobody actually had. First of all, that's an important thing to make clear to people. No one's actually ever been officially been diagnosed with multiple personalities.
really,
Like, it's not a diagnosis they give out. It's either bipolar or paranoia or schizophrenia or
anyway, it's actually a really funny story because he's also at the same time applying like game understanding to quote unquote real world D times D logic. And where he's like, oh, because I'm a master at destruction and I know really, frost and ice, what else can I do with frost and ice? Oh, I can change ambient temperatures with frost and ice, and he uses that to start a head pat conspiracy with Asia. And where he makes her really cold, but then when he pats her head, he makes her warm. It's like it's a wild ride, but it has been thoroughly entertaining the entire time.
Cool.
But yeah, anyway, back to this probably going to be crap story.
yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry, I was slightly wrong. It's now known as dissociative identity disorder. It is controversial within psychiatry and the legal system. It has been rarely used in the insanity defense. It is unclear if increased rates of the disorder are due to better recognition or socio-cultural factors such as media portrayals. A large proportion of diagnoses are clustered around a small number of clinicians, which is consistent with the hypothesis that DAD may be therapist-induced. The typical presenting symptoms in different regions also vary depending on how the disorder is depicted by the media. So basically, there's a lot of people in the mental health industry who don't think this is a real thing.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Well, and the premise behind because I remember when I was looking up that shit, the premise behind dissociative identity disorder is, I want to say, sound, because basically the given premise currently is DID is where you basically have an on-off switch between like being really cold to people and because you're paranoid or whatever of being betrayed again or etc.
Right.
And then like having a few people that you're just like completely 180 personality with.
Right. Well, here's the thing. The problem is they already have things.
Yeah, I know. There's already other
that.
things that do that.
Like,
I know.
BPD, post-traumatic stress, depression.
Like I said, that's what I said. The theory, the definition behind it is sound, but there's other things that already define that.
Right. But basically, very few people have it. Most of the ones that do have probably been misdiagnosed, or it's been essentially induced, and pretty much the only accepted cause amongst everyone is childhood trauma.
Which makes sense.
it does. I'm just saying, most people are like, look, this isn't a thing. And for the ones that are like, it is a thing, all it is it's only going to happen in severe childhood trauma, and that's it.
Yep. Anyway, so let's get back to it. As for the inheritance cycle AU, Galbatorix actually has 6 eggs, and 3 were stolen, the blue, green, and red. All 3 eggs arrived to Aragon, of course, who carried the other 2 with him, and the red dragon egg hatched with Murtagh while they were traveling with Aragon after Brahm's death.
Boy, that sounds like a lot of stuff that would have been important to be shown.
That would have been, wildly changed some of the scenarios that occurred. Pain, anger,
Also,
rage.
again, listen, this entire story could start with the Dragonborn showed up and killed Aragon in the middle of a field because he's a psychopath.
No.
The big bad still loses.
Just edgy.
Hard.
Hates elves, edgy. Second war with Almiri Dominion, edgy. He defeated the Stormcloaks and unified the Empire, and then he killed
we're
the
gonna
Almiri.
take a step back. We're gonna take a step back here and examine another problem with the author's premise here.
Yeah.
Even if this dude is some kind of fanatical elf genocide nutter,
right,
which is entirely possible.
Mm-hmm.
First of all,
yep,
most of the elves aren't like that.
Doesn't matter to him.
Second of all, the elves in this universe, not only do they look different, they have different philosophies.
Not really.
No, they think they're better than people, but they definitely didn't launch a war.
No, it did. Against the dragons.
Okay, against the dragons, yes, but the Dragonborn can't exactly get mad at them about that, given that he's, done the exact same thing for pretty much the exact same reason.
I'm pretty sure genocidal hatred is still an irrational hatred and not a rational hatred, so I don't think it matters. Anyway, we'll see.
That's fair, I suppose.
Edgy, kill all elves. Edgy, he killed all the elves. Edgy. The scrolls were in the statue of Parthenax. Blah, blah. Edgy, he became the emperor. Blah, blah, blah. Wait, no, he didn't become the emperor because, yes, no, he turned it down because of intense anger and rage and hatred. The war with the Thalmor turned him bitter. Edgy elves, hatred elves, edgy hatred elves.
I hate the elves so much, I'm gonna get in a portal to kill more elves.
I wish I could stop hating elves, he said to the tomb. And then he had a vision of a man riding a black dragon, and elves, and dragons, and eggs, and dead dragons, and dead eggs, and then eggs that weren't dead. Yellow, white, brown, green, blue. He watched as the green, blue, and red eggs escaped the grasp of as he closed his fist, and more people and elves with dragons. And then Odahviing landed beside him. Dremulok Dovahkiin, looking at massive red dragon. Odahviing was comfort to him as Leonid told Odahviing his dream. As he did, the statue of Parthenax containing the dragon scroll in its mouth cracked open and released the scrolls of sun, blood, and dragon onto the ground. So Leonid picked all the scrolls up and put them in his bag. Last night I prayed to Father Akatosh. I am so edgy, and elves and edgy, war edgy, PTSD, war edgy, time wound.
Actually, fun fact, most medieval soldiers did not suffer as much from PTSD.
Yeah, probably because they realized that killing was a fact of life.
Well, actually, that's a lot more spot on than you might think, because the mortality rates in the Dark Ages was so much higher. Death was just a literal fact of like nowadays, because of the way that we are as human beings, just having someone die in your arms can cause PTSD.
Yeah, because we're not used to death, and back then, like...
And literally seeing someone die in your arms can be, well, not can be, is horribly traumatic.
Yes.
But
did they, like, not name their kids until they were, like, 3 or some shit because of how high the infant mortality rate was?
I don't know how true that is.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we do know the infant mortality rate was stupid high. The young adult mortality rate was stupid high. Like, death was a literal daily fact of life for them. So, stabbing someone in the gut? That didn't do anything. Like, oh, I stabbed a guy and I watched him die as I did it. Like, obviously it still affected them, but not nearly as much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you also have to keep in mind they had plenty of religion and hierarchy and societal crutch to, you know...
Well, no, I was going to say, that's the other thing. That has a lot to do with what modern techniques have used, because I don't know how many of our watchers know this. I'm pretty sure Sneaky knows this, and I'm pretty sure Max knows this, but only like 10% of human beings can just kill another one.
Not surprised.
Like, it's a very small subset of the population that can actually do that. And like, I think it's split like 5% is socio and psychopaths who just don't care, and then there's another, relatively speaking, mentally sound segment of the population that is simply capable of doing it.
Well, I mean, you got your various, you got your fanatics, you have your, people who believe in something
No, Sneaky. The overwhelming majority of people, this is actually part of this system that has been designed.
Right.
So the important things, and this is actually has to do with why firing squads have multiple people in them.
Right.
It has to do with being able to shift responsibility. So in medieval times, it was officers and God.
Right.
Dehumanization of the opponent, because if the brain can be tricked into thinking that they're not a person, then people can do it. And it has to do with drills. Drills.
Mm-hmm.
But so, like, as humans, they like, the modern militaries have a very set system for getting your average human being to be able to pull that trigger. Another thing that they found helped make it easier was distance, literal physical distance. The more they could disassociate themselves with the act happening, the easier it was.
Right. Yeah, more association. Yeah.
But so like fanatics are just part of that subset. Training, shifting of responsibility, etc.
Right. Alright, well, let's finish up this story and go the fuck to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so blah blah, new battlefield, blah blah, elves. They all retreated, burning... The elves retreated from Skyrim, and they killed towns and cities, and slaughtered refugees and prisoners, and salted the lands, and summoned Daedra to burn forests down. And Skyrim suffered from invasion, and they were starving, and everyone was dying. And they blew up docks, and they burned down places, and they collapsed mines. Men, women, and children were all killed. College of Winterhold was collapsed, and everything and all the history in it was destroyed and burned down by the Thalmor. But whenever he saw any elf, all he could see was anger. Come with me, Odahviing. We will go to this new world. And then they gathered supplies, and he gathered thousands of equipment of supplies, such as leather, ebony, data cards, grand soul gems, empty soul gems, forging materials like gold ingots, gems, and other materials, thousands of pounds as they loaded it upon Odaving, and never would need more resources for forging or smithing or enchanting ever again. And then he kept Dragonrend and killed all the blades. And blah 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 blah. He reforged Dragonrend. This time with the very essence of Dragonrend. Sorry, he reforged Dragonbane with the essence of Dragonrend in it. So now it is Dragonbaneren. And he will kill dragons with it. And Cannon Aragon. And then suddenly a storm appeared. And then lightning shot the ground inside the caverns. And then a dragon appeared with a guy on top of it. And massive icicles exploded into a shower of snow as the dragon shouted them out of existence. And then everyone was shocked by this dragon, and Ira was left speechless. The sight of such an ancient dragon made her fearful and hopeful, and Saphira's eyes grew wide as the massive dragon turned his head to look at her. His glow-red eye bored into her. We must go. There is a rider beside the dragon. And then they went up to the guy, and Aragon capitalized fearful. Apparently that's his last name now. And unsure if he was ready to fight another rider, jumped upon Saphira's saddle as Ira joined them. With a flap of her wings, she took off from the floor of the caldera, which is also for some reason capitalized, and soared to meet with or do battle with the new arrivals.
Huh.
And then they're sitting there. Ah, you're not subtle. Ha ha ha. I am not subtle at all. No. And then oh my God, these are dwarves. The blue Dova comes, and on top of it, it's an elf, and he hates elves.
Wait a minute. I hate elves.
Fire and death. And then they landed, and Odaving was 8 times Saphira's size.
I mean, given what we know of the dragons in the universes, that's actually, while I do think it's exaggerated, that stacks up pretty well.
Well, see, the thing is that Bethesda made the lore of Odaving being that he was supposed to be like a small hill onto himself.
Yeah.
But then they never actually made his size bigger, and that freaking someone actually made a mod for this though. Is someone changed Alduin's size when you finally confront him to literally be World Eater size, like the size of a mountain.
Uh-huh.
And that was actually a really awesome fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, come on, Bethesda.
You can do better than this.
But yeah, point is, it definitely does stack up that Odaving is way bigger.
He's big boy. He's a big boy indeed. Oh my God! It's an elf. It's an elf sword with elves. How dare that child hold an elf sword? Leonide decided he would change
That child's an elf sympathizer! They're holding an elf sword! They just took it from an elf and they stabbed them with it. Doesn't matter.
He sympathizes with them.
As he's eviscerating them?
40K in a nutshell. He's an alien sympathizer. He's shooting them right now. He's got their guns. Yes, because they took it after he shot them. He's sympathizing with the enemy.
Oh my God. Can I just take a side moment to rant about how much I hate commissars that aren't Kane? No, seriously. Did you read The Fall of Cadia, Sneaky?
No.
Okay, so it's the Cadians being the Cadians, right?
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. We're fighting chaos. We're fighting chaos. We're fighting chaos. They slam. I don't know what they did. They slammed some big, horrible thing, big old chunk of rock into Cadia, and they flung it out of the Eye of Terror so it was going stupid fast. And they broke the planet, right?
Okay.
And so, of course, everybody's running to evacuation points. And there are guardsmen that lost their las rifles because they broke, or their commanders ordered them to carry the wounded, right?
Right.
And this fucking commissar, he's like, guardsman, where is your las rifle? He's like, it broke. And then you know what happens? Commissar shoots him. Then he goes to the next one. Guardsman, where's your las rifle? Well, mine was out of ammo and we had a bunch of wounded. Commissar is about to shoot him. And commanding officer's like, dude, what the hell? I ordered him to drop the las rifle and carry the wounded. Commissar goes, oh, okay. Shoots the commanding officer, then shoots the guardsman. And I'm just like...
Commissars, man.
Can we
I'm
just
like-
be done with this story?
I'm like,
No,
why
yeah.
can't more of them be Kane? Sorry, continue.
Yep. Anyway, let's see, blah 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 blah. Short elves made with more elves. Now they were surrounded by elves. But he looked at the arrows and realized they were simple steel arrowheads. But even simple steel could get lucky. More people were arriving. A traditional greeting may be unwise, Odoving, my friend. Inhaling her scent, he growled out, Dremulok Dova Brina! The fact that Odoving spoke shocked both the blue Dova, but also the human and elf. That's not how the word both works. It shocked me and Atin and Max. Sorry, it shocked both me and Atin and Max.
What shocked us?
The lightning bolt that hit us. Please,
Oh.
God, end my suffering.
It shocked us, but it was not unwell. Hold up, what's the Obi-Wan Kenobi quote? Ah, yes. A surprise, but a welcome one, to be certain.
Poop Jor, you stink of mortals. Do you not know the language of your own kind, do you, Croesus Sorrow? I do not think she nor her kin can speak Odoving. They were very surprised when they heard you speak. Are you friend or foe? It made Leonid smirk as Odoving laughed. His laughing was so loud, it sent tremors through the ground. When Odoving finished his laugh, if I had come as foe, do you think I would speak or allow me to be surrounded? You will be silent. Speak again and you will die. Now drop your weapons and remove your armor, or you will die. Ah, the twins, of course. That made Leonid bare his teeth and reach for his blades. A bolt of energy was flinged from one of their hands, striking Leonid in the chest, knocking him back with the stagger. His armor shimmered and reduced the impact and effectiveness of the spell greatly. The spell had been intended to kill him. Okay, but that's not how Aragon magic works. They don't shoot bolts of energy. Unless you literally say, bolt of energy, it doesn't shoot a bolt of energy.
I was gonna say, because remember, the dragon language, when dragons have an argument, it's just dragons screaming fire and ice at each other like little bitches.
Basically. But no, Aragon magic is literally heart stop, and then your heart stops. It's not like a bolt of energy you have to dodge out of the heart stop beam. No, it's heart stop, and then your heart stops.
Crush heart. Oops.
Crush the enemies of the Reich, onward to victory. Yes. And, the Thum built
Hitler
in his
cast
throat.
a spell. World in flames.
Thum built in his throat, Frusroda, and it ripped the two dwarves off their feet. It also knocked over the men behind him. And then he rushed as he drew his Daedric swords, and Odoving roared, lashing out with his tail. trampling the ground as people tried to rush Leonid. He did not want to kill them, simply teach them a lesson. As his blade came up, a deep commanding voice roared out, "Enough! Stop this!" And then his sword almost killed one of the twins. And then they tried to shoot him again with their energy beams of death. But he blew the spell back at them and it left them exhausted. What? The impact issued a flash of light as he hit Odoving, who bared his teeth to feast upon the two of them. Leonid felt the burn in his chest. Do you feel the burn? The man had skin of dark ebony. And then Leonid looked at the man of ebony skin, who did not back down. And he knew this man was their leader. Your two mages needed to learn their manners and their places. Holding his red Daedric blade in his hand, they looked to the dark man to approach him. Jesus Christ, author.
I feel like this needs to be saved for another stream.
Yeah, I say do it.
It's 9/11.
We already have one for Tuesday, so.
It's 9/11? Alright, we'll take a break here then. Alright, since Max is sleepy and tired, we'll wish you all a fond farewell. And
Also, he has a real job, unlike the rest of us.
Please, he just sits in a room all day. That
Yeah,
happens
but he gets
to
paid
not...
for it.
Yeah, I know. Alright, well, we'll see you all Friday. Or, you know, if I ever get around to doing a gaming stream, it'll happen. Anyway, see you all next time, because there's always more and it always gets worse.